What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is November 20th, 2023. Welcome back to another ramble. I should have said that first, but is what it is, right? I know a lot recently I've been talking about like some of those hardships people go through, relationships, family-wise, and various things like that, And I think with that, I think we should also talk about like moving on. When you know that you should be moving on and you're not, Sometimes when that happens, some people they end up blaming the person that doesn't move on too, because they're like, well, you knew it was bad for you. You knew that that relationship wasn't going anywhere, but yeah, you might hold on still and stuff like that, And it's not. I want to say it's not entirely your fault, Sometimes some people think that those people are going to change, that those people are going to see it when you tell them, But in that case, it doesn't always happen, Some people are lucky that those people might see it and they might change. They might reevaluate how they act towards you and everybody else, and not act like they're entitled to the whole world, but in order for them to see their errors, sometimes you got to let them go, Maybe they don't see it afterwards, and that should speak volumes towards that, and it can be very hard, right? Very hard to move on in your life and take those steps to better self-improvement for yourself, Sometimes those people, other people might bring out the worst in you. Sometimes, you have to meet somebody that brings out the best in you to know that those people that are just bringing you down and taking from you, taking, don't really necessarily care for you, and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that they totally hate you or anything like that. It's just that sometimes in relationships, friendships, all that stuff, that people might take you for granted, right? They might take your kindness and your love for granted, and they become expectant, right? But yeah, you took everything. It took everything you could to try to keep it together, to try to be positive, to tell them how you're feeling and show them, and you wanted them to step up as much as you're stepping up, and if they're not doing that, sometimes you got to learn how to walk away, right? You got to learn how to walk away and not put up with that stuff, and that's one of the hardest things in life, especially if you come if you've been in some kind of relationship with somebody for years, years, and you know you're kind of scared to move on. You're kind of scared to be alone, or you're scared to be in a situation alone for a while, and it's never forever, and it's never the end. So, it's tough, and I think sometimes those things lead to, people hurting each other or hurting themselves, each other, and stuff like that. But if it's something that's holding you back, you can't, and you want to move on. You want to move on, but you don't. You just keep at it, right? You just got to remember that there's going to be a brighter tomorrow, right? Even if tomorrow doesn't come for years and stuff like that, you can't keep putting yourself through it, because ultimately that's what it comes down to for the most part, is you're putting yourself through it, right? And you choose to allow those people to stay in your life and take advantage of you, per se, right? But don't feel bad about it. It's tough. I understand. I've been in a situation like that, and I'm sure somebody's been in that situation with me as well, right? They're just like, this guy's kind of a dick, and we don't, we just keep him around sometimes because, he's funny or something like that. It happens, you just got to accept those things, and sometimes you just got to reevaluate, you don't one of the hardest parts of moving on, aside from being alone for some time, and thinking about you and making you better, and finding a new people to be there for you, and they're going to treat you as equals, that not as somebody that they could take advantage of, right? Like a piece of meat or something like that, because sometimes those people, those ones that take advantage of you are right there with a smile and stuff like that too. They can make you feel good, but the downs could be worse than that too. You know what I mean? And I know life isn't that simple, right? It's not as simple as just leaving sometimes. And sometimes when you are going to make that change and you're going to move on, it's probably best not to waste that energy to tell them, because sometimes they don't care and they don't listen at all, right? Sometimes when you'll notice when you're conversing with some of those people that they don't even hear you, right? They don't even respect you enough to hear some of your problems, but they want to offload on you and tell you how bad it is. But when they ask you for your input, they don't even hear it, They don't hear it, or they don't hear some of the hardships you're going through, man. They just expect you to help make them better and not contribute to it as well, And I think that's one of the big indicators if any, in my whole life that I've seen that is a clear sign that, that maybe that person, they not only don't want to change, but they might not value your input, right? And it's easy to talk about these things for somebody that's been in a relationship before, but if you've never been in a relationship or a friendship where something like that has occurred, it could be devastating. It could be tough, and it can be mentally taxing, because you poured all your heart and soul into that relationship, that friendship, that whatever it is, that bond, that thing that you thought was beautiful, all those great memories, you don't want to throw those away. You don't want to, because you poured your time into it, it's your life too. But if it's not being respected at the same time, you got to realize that how important your time is to other people. And if it's not important to them, then, you got to find somewhere that it is important, right? And sometimes that can tie into work and stuff like that as well, because, you see a lot of people at jobs where, they're sad or they're freaking depressed or something, they're not getting any satisfaction, anything out of it, right? And, they feel like they're undervalued. And you know what? As somebody that's been in a position where I was in those situations, right? That, it's hard to move on, because you need to put food on the table. You need to bring in the money to put the food on the table. But, because your livelihood could be, put at stake, I guess, at times. So I always recommend finding a job first before you move on to the next one, right? Because it's not guaranteed that you'll get a different job, right? Not right away, or maybe not even in that town. So sometimes you might have to put up with it for a little bit in order to move on to that next thing. And, it'll be hard work. It'll be a challenge. You might be going through something rough, It might seem like the world around you is collapsing. It might seem like nobody cares for you, But at the end, it's you caring for yourself ultimately, right? And trying to do what's best for you. Sometimes the selfish thing is the right thing to do to help you get better, man. You got to seek help, right? You got to seek help. I don't know about where anybody lives at that is listening to this, but they do have programs where they can help, and they have resources to help people that are going through that stuff. And help with some of that mental aspects, Sometimes just talking about it doesn't help. Sometimes just sharing it doesn't help, You need help with guidance. You need help with what to do next, what steps to take, There's plenty of programs that you might be able to find near you. It just takes a little bit of looking, Sometimes it could be kind of expensive and stuff like that, I understand, but, there's also other programs to kind of help alleviate that, but I understand not everybody has that neither, but, you have to take steps towards your own individual wellness also. It starts with you and it's going to end with you because it's your life, right? It's your life and stuff like that because, as anything else in life, it's going to be hard to move on, to make changes within yourself, around yourself, and to the people that you hang out with, right? And various things like that. I just had a friend recently made a comment. He was looking towards change. You can see it, right? You can see it while it's happening. And he's like, he wants to be around people that are changing, that are doing stuff, not people that are sitting there waiting for that thing to happen, right? And, you're like, oh, I hope you find it. I hope you get it, man. It's tough, It's tough for everybody. And not everybody seeks out the same thing. Not everybody's going through that same thing, And sometimes it feels like you're sinking in quicksand and that it's pulling you down, Those are the first signs, or those are some more signs that you need to get up and you need to get out, right? You need to help pick yourself up, Because, I don't know, if you don't believe in yourself, nothing's going to happen, no matter how much help you get, no matter how much you want to change, If you don't believe in yourself, you can't do it, Because nobody can do it for you. Nobody at all. Nobody in this world can do it for you. Especially if you're like a man and stuff like that, you might get made fun of, and I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's true, and it'd be hard, they call it tough love, they call it, being a man, they call it this, that, and another thing, right? And, it's tough. It's tough reality out there, especially when you're in that a negative mindset that brings you down, You're not only facing criticism from the outside world, you might be in there criticizing yourself in your head and your brain and stuff like that, right? Your inner conscious that's always talking to you might be very toxic, even though you look very happy on the outside. You look very strong or whatever it is. You could still be mentally beating yourself up, And, if sometimes that brings out the worst in people around you as well, and that's a part of trying to find that help, for yourself and being selfish and helping yourself move on the inside. Moving on isn't always about moving on from people physically, right? It's not always about moving away from people in your lives and all that. It's about moving on who you are on the inside and who you see whenever you look in the mirror, who you see when you see a picture, Some people see a happy dad, somebody sees a happy brother or sister, whatever, mom, But on the inside, you're screaming for help. You're anything but happy, right? And you're afraid because you don't want people to make fun of you. You don't want people to think you're crazy. If you have kids, you don't want them to take away your kids. You don't want them to do something like that, right? And it's a very understandable, But you got to realize that you got to work at yourself to move on from that negative stuff, to be more positive, to not only help you if you're afraid you're hurting other people, it's for them too. And, it's tough. It's hard to accept those things, The truth hurts the most, especially when you know it, and you know it's affecting other people. You know, it starts with you. It's going to end with you. And it's always it'll be a part of you, but doesn't mean you can't change it. Doesn't mean you can't get better. Doesn't mean that, you know, you can't be the best person that you can possibly be. You know, it's just right now you're in a slump, right? You're in the dumps, and you know, you gotta pick yourself up, man. You gotta pick yourself up. Always easier said than done. I always say that. Easier said than done, because I understand that it is, you know. Many years I sat there, crappy relationships. I didn't think anything of myself, you know. It's more recent that I recognized that, you know, maybe I'm a better person than I was before, you know, and that I am. And I've realized that my train of thought has changed, you know, and I had to make cuts out of my life too, because I'm still on the inside holding myself back, right? And there's only one person that can change that, and that's me. That's me. It's always has been, always will be. And you know, come a long way from the guy that was gonna shoot himself in the head, right, with his gun. I remember after that, I sold that thing right away, because I was like, I can't have this gun, man, because I'm gonna kill myself, you know. And I did dumb shit. I made this mirror in high school, you know, and I broke it, and I sliced X's in my cheeks and cut along my arms, you know, just because I was an idiot. I was drunk, depressed, and you know, all this other stuff, you know. Just wanted it to end in the inside, but I didn't. And I made changes since then. It took steps, you know. My drinking did get worse after that, but it also got better because, you know, I had family that was there. I had family to help believe in me, and I had a person that came into my life to help pick me up and see that too, you know. That told me, not only told me, but showed me that I was worth it, right? And, you know, I'll always be grateful to her, you know. I'm living my life right now, right? And you know, beautiful son, and I'll never change anything for my son, right? I love him more than I love anybody in this world, you know. Anything happened to him, I don't know what I would do, you know. Somebody hurt him, I might have to hurt somebody, obviously. Not might have to, I would hurt somebody, right? Because I love him that much, and you know, and at the same time, I know he has to experience life himself, you know, and he's gonna go through hardships, and he's gonna go through everything, you know. He's gonna go through the shit, but I just hope that, and if I taught him anything, it's how to hold your head up high, even when the shit hits the fan, you know, and that he is a strong, a smart individual that is capable of anything that he puts his mind to. That, you know, drugs and alcohol isn't worth it, and I'm gonna tell him that when he's getting older. I have to show him that, you know. I talk to him now, even though he doesn't quite understand, and he might never understand. He might be too late when he understands. It might be that maybe he understands right before it happens, and I hope that that's the case. But, you know, if it's not, I hope that my words stick in his head when he's facing that moment where he chooses his life, chooses to stay here and not hurt himself or something, you know. I had myself some of the great words of my uncles, my aunts, you know, my family members in my head when I came to that point, to that crossroads, to that mental instability, to that time I didn't believe in myself, that I let others devalue me, you know, that I let myself be weak, that I didn't believe, you know. I stopped believing in myself. And, you know, I gave up, but I didn't quit, man. I was so close to quitting, and, you know, I'm glad I didn't, man. Life's so much better, and, you know, I have a son now, and I've had him for years now, and, you know, hopefully when he'll be able to bury me, you know. Hopefully not from killing myself, obviously, but for sure not, because I don't believe in that stuff. But, you know, at one point I considered it, right, and almost came to it. But nowadays, I want to die from old age and see my son grow up and, have him bury me. And, you never know, though. Life's different. I could die right now. I could die tomorrow. I can die in a year, 2 years, a couple of years before he graduates. That's just life, right? That's just life. Accidents happen, sicknesses happen, all that stuff. And life's going to be hard, but guess what? I'm willing to walk with him. I'm willing to believe in him and believe in myself, And, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a bigger challenge than I'm ever going to imagine. And that goes for anybody. That goes for everybody. That goes for people that love somebody, and care for them and wants the best for them. It's never going to be simple. Never going to be simple. Only the words are simple, but the actions are going to be the hardest. So, I hope he's able to move on when he has to, So, and I hope everybody here listening able to move on when they have to, that they're able to see that, Some people don't get to move on. Some people don't move on. They're too afraid. They don't believe in themselves, They find themselves inadequate. They find that nobody's going to love them after that person, that in that relationship, in that friendship, or whatever ship it is, When that ship sinks, jump the fuck off. Jump the fuck off. Don't sit there and drown yourself, Find that thing. Move on. You might be sad now. Shit might hit the fan. You might drop down to the lowest point known to man, and what we would call that, and, you might not. You might find something more. And it might take you going through those things to find the right way, right, for yourself anyways. And I hope you're happy. I hope you're able to believe in yourself, right? That's all you can do is hope. And, we'll see what life has in store for us. But I think that's going to conclude this ramble. I hope you guys have a great one. And I hope you're able to move on to the best things that you can find within yourself. It's up to you. Always will be. Peace out, guys. Love you. Bye.